Tony D and Little Joan with a screenwriter's rant on Faraaz. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. Story about the terrorist attack in Dhaka, Bangladesh in 2016, and one of the heroic figures in the event. Smash like and subscribe. Thank you for smash liking and subscribing. Check out my books, links in the description. Comedy horror in South Jersey. It's the Pineys, books 1 through 11. Available at Amazon.com. Don't forget, Kindle Unlimited is free. So, I don't know if you remember this event, but this happened in 2016. Some guys who were terrorists, they're Muslim, and they just basically started killing all the non-Muslims in this one, I think it was a hotel in India. It's big international news. Well, this one guy, now they call him the Prince of Bangladesh, but I think they're making a joke at his expense. But he was 20 and a Muslim with his friends in one of the restaurants there, and got trapped in with the his friends. And even though they were not going to kill Muslims, he stayed with his friends in order to protect them. And I won't give away what happened in reality. But this is a drama about a real event. And there were lots of people in this, but they're focusing on him. I'm not that detailed in the... I'm not that learned in the details of that event. I remember hearing it on the news. But this is on Netflix. It looks like a pretty good movie. I mean, and it doesn't look... I mean, this is, I think, Netflix... I'm going to say Netflix India, because the drama takes place in India. And it's not totally in other languages, but part of it is. And it's subtitled... because I think for American audiences, at least for me, it's sometimes hard to parse people with thick accents, even when they're speaking English sometimes, because, this takes place in India. It doesn't take place in America, so it shouldn't be that they're speaking perfect American English. It wouldn't be very realistic, especially to the audience that I think this is aimed at. So, this in the United States probably would be, back in the old days, almost like a movie of the week about a real event and a figure in that event that was considered a hero. So I think he was considered a hero at that time, probably more in India than here. And these are the guys trying to save the hostages, and that's Faraaz there. So... It doesn't really pull any punches. It's a pretty grim spectacle, even in this trailer, because it starts with the initial attack, and those guys just come in and start shooting people. There's a bunch of people sitting in a restaurant, and they just roll in and start shooting people. It's crazy. So it's not going to be a nice movie. Okay, it's going to be pretty intense. So for those of you who are a bit squeamish, I wouldn't recommend it, but it's interesting to me because, again, I think it appears to be an Indian production, so it'll be an event-related movie from a more Indian perspective, which to me is interesting because you won't just get a flavor of, say, what Bangladesh is like, but you get a flavor of how they deal with an event like this. In the United States, something like this happens. It's, I don't know, to some extent, I think American audiences are a bit numb to these tragic events. I'm not sure they're as numb to it in a country like India. Maybe they are to some extent, but this was a pretty big event. This was major. In 2016. I think these are also the guys, I believe they part of the attack was they used boats and that's how they got access to certain areas. And I think they all went. I think they were all, fought to the last man, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if they captured anybody. I didn't read the entire write-up, but I don't want to give it away. But first act is probably the wind-up and then the attack. The second act is most of the drama, and it's going to be about, Faraaz being this guy who is willing to stay behind for his friends, and basically the Muslims who are the terrorists versus like the Muslim who's like a good guy and stays behind and protects people and doesn't believe in. He even says, there's a line in the movie, something like, Faraz says, I want to take back Islam from people like you. So it's kind of they're using the event in order to dramatize the differences between terrorist Muslims and regular Muslims, the vast majority of them, right? And then the third act is the resolution, how it went down, and the fallout, which again, I don't want to give away if you haven't, I hit the wrong button. If you haven't heard about this problem, or this event, sorry, I was reading the subtitles, I got off track here. So, it's a pretty grim spectacle again, and they even have his mother. I don't know if this part of it's true, but his mother was on the scene outside where the cops were, and this is Faraz. There he is. So it's a very dramatic thing, and I mean, would I see it? Because it's made in India. Oh, it is Netflix India. I think I would say it because I want to see that perspective. I want to see them make a movie like this and how they're going to handle an event like this. I think in America sometimes certain events get over dramatized, and I could see a little over dramatization in this, but at the same time, man, it's brutal. I mean, that opening scene where they're just rolling in and shooting people, that's brutal. It's a brutal opening scene. So will they take a hard look at what really happened here, or will they use it to spin up a narrative? I don't know. Probably a little both, I'm guessing. Let's read the write-up. How will Faraz help the hostages? Will he even succeed? Watch to find out answers. Well, this already happened, so you could look up and know what happened. But yeah, so this is on Netflix India. I don't know if you can see it on Netflix America, but I believe if you have one of those things that switch up your VPNs, I believe you totally could. And I wouldn't be surprised if it was on American Netflix anyway, because there's quite a bit of a library there anyway, and sometimes there's foreign films, and it is subtitled, so I suspect that it is. Yeah, I think it looks decent. It reminds me a little bit of Munich. If you ever saw that movie, that was a dramatization of the terrorist attack on the Olympics back in, I guess that was the early 70s. So it's very similar to that. It's doesn't pull any punches. All right, that's it for me, Tony D and Little Joan. Thanks for tuning in. I'm back from the event at Lehigh Valley Comic Con, and so thanks for tuning in. Tomorrow is going to be the live stream. It should be at 7. No problems there. I don't have any conflicts. Should be clear sailing. And the good news is I have the numbers website back, because apparently I was typing in the wrong address before, and I kept doing it over and over again. And that's why I couldn't find the damn site, or they moved and changed the address. I'm not sure, but we'll have some real numbers tomorrow on the box office. It's going to be interesting to see what wins. I believe John Wick 4 is off #1, so we'll check it out. Thanks for tuning in tonight, and we'll see you